Once there was an explosion, a bang which gave birth to time and space. Once there was an explosion, a bang which set a planet spinning in that space. Once there was an explosion, a bang which gave rise to life as we know it. And then came the next explosion.
Traditionally, in our subconscious, we conceive of explosions as forces of destruction. The liberation of the energy of such magnitude, everything around it suffers the consequences of our own volition. The nuclear, and ones on the cosmic scale, tearing down our world to its basic principles. In Hideo Kojima's newest creation, we're shown a world not unlike what we are experiencing today. It has been ravaged and transformed by a cataclysmic event known as the Death Stranding. The Death Stranding has blurred the lines between the living plane and the afterlife through the opening of the beach and the transition point between the two. Usually the purified souls would pass through the beach to the other side, but now they are compelled to try to return to our world to be stranded. The beach things, lost souls yearning for connection, as their death denied them such a luxury. When their antimatter contacts living matter, it results in a void out.
Once there was an explosion, a bang which gave rise to life as we know it. And then came the next explosion. An explosion that will be our last.
Chiralium, the dark matter between the two, entered our atmosphere, a material that has no half-life. The clusters of this material in our sky create timefall, a rain that steals away our time, often accompanied by the BTs, an invisible threat that is beyond simple human understanding. Death Stranding had put humanity on the brink of ruin.
Well, the world was different when I was a kid. America is a country. Anybody could go anywhere they damn well pleased. No need for couriers like yourself. We had highways, airplanes. Hell, we could even visit other countries. Hard to imagine it now. As you can see, the Death Stranding poked us full of holes. Fucked us beyond all recognition.
America's bureaucratic failures in the face of unknowns left the citizens to resent and doubt them, to isolate themselves from the outside world and others since they could no longer guarantee their safety. The best minds in America were able to use chiralium to their advantage, giving way to technological advances beyond those of our lost past. Bridges, the last remnant of the old government, hopes to use one of these evolutions in technology, the chiral network, a knot that will reconnect the isolated societies back into one whole to regain our past and guarantee our future. Kojima, being the solo writer that he is, always likes to use language to enunciate the functions of his characters and world. Strands, bridges, knots.
I'm fragile, but I'm not that fragile.
Call me Dead Man. I'm well acquainted with the dead.
But I do believe even the most minute detail he dedicates to creating this world serves more than just a dense purpose. It's about making the pieces fit in the giant puzzle. But since we don't have all day and don't want this video to be 10 hours long, I will give my piece on the most overlooked and prescient elements of Death Stranding. How it interprets catastrophe, connection, nostalgia, real death, heroics, villainy, and evolution, as well as its implications for our future. The game opens on a live delivery of our protagonist, Sam Porter Bridges, a post-apocalyptic courier as he's delivering cargo to Central Knot City. Along the way, he stops at a cave, meeting up with the head of freelance delivery service, Fragile Express, a young woman who has had her body aged after an encounter with the Time Fall.
I think they're gone. What the hell? Didn't mean to grab you so hard.
What are you doing here?
Trying to stay dry. Same as you. Time Fall's let up. My name is Fragile.
Yeah, I've heard of you.
Not much left of me either. Got soaked from neck to toe.
I can't help you with that. I make deliveries, that's all.
The first thing we notice about Sam is that he's afraid of human touch, intimacy. He has a condition known as aphanphosmophobia. Upon arriving on Capital City for his delivery, Sam is forced to say goodbye to his mother, obliged by Dead Man.
The first and last female president of the United States. Surely you remember her. She raised you? I guess no introductions are necessary.
What's it been, Sam? 10 years? Look at us. A bunch of deathless freaks meeting like this. President's waiting.
I knew you'd come back. Together, you can help us reconnect. You can make America whole. Sam, if we don't all come together again, humanity will not survive.
We don't need a country. Not anymore.
We do. Alone, we have no future.
No, America's finished. Bridget, you're the president of jack shit.
Sam, listen to me. So you are willing to help me?
No, I
love you, Sam. I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
Madam President! Oh, no.
Doctor, we need your help.
All hands on deck here. Season B-5.
dropping. Hold on. We're losing her.
We are forced to take Bridget's body to the incinerator, as the center doesn't have any other porters on site, to prevent her from necrotizing and becoming a BT. To level the playing field against the dead, one must also join their
I
ranks.
got an idea.
An unborn baby, still thinking it's in its womb, to bridge the gap between the living and the dead, known as BBs.
Bridget may no longer be with us, but her legacy has a chance to live on. America, Reconstructionism. Her dream isn't dead.
I don't want to hear it.
This is the face of our new hope. Our new America.
Amelie.
My mother may be gone, but I'm here. And you, Sam? You're here too.
Upon returning to the White House, Sam gets briefed on the plan to reconnect America by the President's daughter and her second-in-command, Samantha America Strand, and Die Hartman. During their expedition to reconnect America, Emily was captured by the Homo Demons, a decentralized group that seek to stoke chaos throughout the nation, rejecting American Reconstructionism. They don't have a leader, only an ideology, pushed by their figure Hicks.
Right. Nothing's off limits for them. Not even engineering void outs.
I carried my mother's message to people all across the country. But not everyone was willing to accept it.
More than a few would rather stay isolated. Keep to themselves. Go it alone. Like you, Sam. Sam, we want you to go west and finish what Emily started. The people she left behind have been hard at work, setting up chiral network terminals. But these terminals are still isolated. We need you to bring them online. And when you get to Edge Knot City, find Emily and bring her home.
I'm Sam Porter Bridges now. I'm not a Strand. Hell, I'm not even part of this outfit. You all saw to that. I'm not getting involved with you or anyone else ever again.
Wait!
See? It's like I'm not even here. Same as it ever was.
Sam! Sam!
Just falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Sam? Can you see me?
How are things over there?
It's bad. There are fewer and fewer people in the cities these days. No one's having children anymore. But humans aren't made for living alone. They're supposed to come together, to help one another. And if we as a people can't do that, if we can't reconnect, then, well, it's like Bridget said, extinction.
Come on. Rebuilding America isn't gonna get rid of the BTs. As long as they're still around, there's no escaping it.
But at least we'll have hope. I'll be waiting, Sam.
So we head out onto the American frontier to save the country, its citizens, and the world. Playing Death Stranding for the first time is a jarring experience. We aren't merely walking through a virtual playground, we are genuinely traversing a hostile world. Threats that aren't always enemies, although those do exist. Simply walking with a heavy load is an effort. We are keeping our balance, stepping on rocks, crossing a river, avoiding the rain, and being careful of heights. Most open world games overlook these aspects in their usual slog. Traversing is simply a means to arrive at the good stuff. But Hideo Kojima sees an opportunity to create a game that is all about the journey, not the destination. But that destination is still quite something. Sam is ordinarily vulnerable and small to the vastness of the world.
まずゲームって、プレイヤーが普段できないことをできるんですよね。それは空を飛んだり、猛スピードで走ったり、ワープしたり、大ジャンプをしたりというか、そういうのでプレイヤーにカタルシスを与えるっていうのが今のゲームなんですけど、デス・ストランディングはその逆です。普通の、ブルーカラーなんですね。で、石につまずいてこけたり、崖から落ちたりとか大変な川に、流されたりするんですけど、すごくリアルな自分なんです。で、いろんなことができるんですけども、超人ではなくて、そのいろんなことができる自分をどう使って、ヒーローになるかっていう、そういう今までのゲームと違うアプローチをして。
Climbing a mountain, which is the most simple task in a game like Skyrim, fills us with tension and Death Stranding as we see Sam barely scraping by for dear life to keep his cargo intact. Dark Souls games also get this effect, and when our protagonist is at his most vulnerable, we are left with the most tension. Carry too much and you're slow to a crawl. Carry too little. The game incentivizes a balance between preparedness, skill, and our ability to improvise in the worst of situations. You may think you have achieved balance when, reality hits you every single time.
It's good to get the feet warmed up.
Just because the environment may be hostile, doesn't mean it can't also be beautiful. It applauds life's beauty, and also its betrayal. Instead of creating a map too big to be remembered, you build a familiarity and appreciation for the environment around you. The line you cross is a vital connection you also make, and that plays into one aspect of the Death Stranding. The Timefall. A violent reminder of an ever-changing planet that disregards all of our progress, our homes, our way of life. A destructive force that washes away everything, not unlike a biblical flood.
If you were lucky enough to survive, the timefall came and washed you away.
While we might appreciate nature, we understand that it has covered the remnants of the dead civilization. Just like our buildings are built upon the earth of old, we see the pieces of this society resurface when we encounter massive BTs. The petrol covers the remnants of the past, just like we recover oil from the remains of dinosaur fossils. To compensate for vulnerable protagonists, the game inherits and builds upon the community system pioneered by the Souls series. In Dark Souls, players can leave messages to other players provided they're on the same server. Some of these messages can be definite hints, others are deceitful traps, but in Death Stranding you are only able to help each other by helping yourself. When you put down a ladder to cross a river, you're not only helping yourself but other players who could save their ladder for another situation. This game works under the thoughts of Adam Smith, who believed acts of self-interest could benefit the whole, the Stranding system. Our actions have positive impacts on our worlds. It is a sanitized, controlled version of our internet. Every step they take, and we take, is feedback through likes.
一言で言うと、同じように世界中にそういう人たちがいると思うんですよ。で、ゲームをやってる人は結構そういう人がいると思って、街中ではみんなとワイワイやってたり、するんですけど、やっぱり一人になって、リビングでゲームやってる人ってやっぱり何かしら社会と合わなかったり、コミュニの中で合わなかったりする人がいると思うので、ただその人がこのゲームをやった時に自分みたいな人が世界中にいる、自分は孤独だけど世界中に孤独な人がいっぱいいるっていうのを知ることで、そうホッとするというか、安心すると思うんですよ。だからそういう、ちょっと、行き過ぎてる今のオンラインの中傷とか暴力を、一歩というか間接的に意図的につなぎ直すことで、その辺のちょっと今失われているであろうその思いやりみたいなものを体感してもらう。で、それが嫌だっていう人はまず。
We are truly capable of only supporting each other, not attack. In this world where we are utterly defenseless in the face of uncertainty trapped inside our homes, the most important tool we use is the internet. The only thing still binding us to those outside our homes, to avoid risky contact, but yet support each other. It fills us with cooperation, hope in our ability to come together, to connect without truly seeing each other. Life is more comfortable with others at hand. Likes are an essential creation of ours to show our support without traditional hand gestures. One of the first deliveries in Death Stranding is oxytocin-boosting drugs. Oxytocin is a hormone that eases our stress whenever we form connections and resist intimacy from other people. For human connection is truly a biological need. Likes deliver the same boost in approval whenever we gain affection or support other people. It seems like this is the creation of a new language almost.
Thanks for the help.
As I mentioned, the discovery and use of chiralium by America's survivors means that the world still retains a level of civility and comfort, at least on the inside. Unlike most post-apocalyptic settings, humanity hasn't regressed to a primal savage behavior seen in the likes of The Walking Dead. Resources are aplenty, there is no shortage of supplies or comfort, as its inhabitants still live in cities just they can't go outside. Blue-collar workers, porters, deliver their every need, workers that are genuinely keeping society hanging on by a thread. There is no lack or starvation. While the outside world is in ruin, we can see that citizens still have their basic needs seen to their rooms, with no-touch policies in mind. Safety is always guaranteed inside with excellent infrastructure. Porters deliver more than just food or medicine, but also tend to individual interest commodities of the old world. Thanks to the chiral network and its expansion, Bridges can unearth archives and data from the past to recreate objects from the old way of life endlessly, to guarantee our life, but also our future, to beat the Death Stranding.
Once you establish chiral communications, generating grams won't be an issue. You'll also be able to use Cairo printers. Won't be long before we're able to send all kinds of things through the wire.
Except anything original. Or that's got a soul. Nothing real. Just copies.
True. Which is why we'll still need porters like you. Before and after we're made whole, we'll need men in the middle.
No rest for the wicked, huh?
Despite every citizen having their needs and hobbies tended to, they still feel entirely hollow, empty, lonely, and miserable. As I mentioned, while every need may be tended to and our hobbies fed, we still need something more to enrich our souls, other people. In a way, this cultural convenience, having what we need delivered at our doorstep with breakneck speed, is easy for us to forget that our people exist. It's almost as if we feel we don't need it anymore. Still, we feel a yearning in our soul for something more. Our felt independence has led us to shutting ourselves out from the outside world.
You're free, but we're still connected. Don't tell me we're not.
あともう一つあるんですけど、僕らの子供の時はやっぱり物を買うっていうのはどっかに出かけて行って、デパートとかどっかのショップで物を買って持って帰るっていうそういうのが当たり前なんですけど、今はもう、インターネットで Amazon とかで、ポチッとしてで、誰かが届いてくれる、ドローンか、誰かが届けてくれるんですけど、そうではそれでいいのかっていうか、それは便利なんですけど、やっぱり誰かが届けてるその重さを持った、体感してそれを誰かが A から B に届けているっていうことをもうちょっと理解してほしかったんで、そういう。
It's a funny word, strand. A strand is part of rope or bond.
The Death Stranding, most of all, is an event. It came as a complete shock to everyone when it reached its highest levels. The constant explosions and loss of life, all gone in an instant. Many inside America remarked that in hindsight, foreseeing it was possible if only they had the necessary information. In this sense, we can conceptualize the Death Stranding as a black swan event. Events that are completely unpredictable, yet change the course of history forever. After all, no one thinks of black swans. They usually conjure up an image of a regular white swan. As our civilization gains more knowledge, it faces the fact that it still is minuscule compared to the information we genuinely need to be prepared for everything that has a chance to happen. Every day we are confronted with significant unknowns that fuel our uncertainty of nature and our effects of it, fueling our need to assess risk. Professor Ulrich Beck's thesis Risk Society states that
a couple of years ago, the US Congress established an expert commission to develop a language or symbolism capable of warning against the threats posed by American nuclear waste dumps 10,000 years from now. The very scientific sophistication of the commission showed how the crisis of modernity followed from its triumphs. We are not actually, I would say, in a crisis of modernity. We are suffering from the consequences of the victory of modernity, the unwanted and unseen consequences of the victory of modernity. And here even we have one of the indicators, even language fails when faced with the task of warning future generations against the dangers we have introduced into the world by using high modern technologies. Being at global risk is a human condition at the beginning of the 21st century of World Risk Society. But against the grain of the current widespread feeling of doom, there is a nostalgia built into foundations of European social science thought, which has never disappeared. Modern society has become a risk society in the sense that it is increasingly occupied with debating, preventing, and managing risk that it itself has produced.
Before the decade started, we could travel the world without any risks or warnings, bringing anything we want with us, without even thinking about it, without proper assessment. Modernity has been crushed under its own weight, leaving only a few who can trek what's left of America.
The name's Higgs, the particle of God that permeates all existence. Ah, so it was you that dragged him into all this. Bloodied but unbound. Huh. What's that? Bridget Strand is dead. America's last president dead and burned. Oh, and now the girl's been chosen to take Mommy's place. Well, that won't wash. She's not cut out for politics, is she? Oh, but don't worry. I'll find her. And I'll keep her real safe. You see, I've come to understand the truth of the Death Stranding. Oh, there's so much you people don't know. The girl, for instance, she's not like you or me. Dooms ain't her thing. And she's more into destruction on a worldwide scale. An extinction entity. Oh, it's so hard to form connections when you can't shake hands. Fortunately, I've got a good connection to the other side. Now you're no bridge. But me, I'm bound to all of it. This world, that world, and our sweet little angel of death. You're on the menu. All it'll take is one itty-bitty void out to blow us all to kingdom come. So how about it? Aren't you getting tired of the grind? Isn't this what you've been waiting for this whole time? a game over.
Intimacy is a luxury in the world of Death Stranding. For the living and the dead, yearning for something as simple as human connections that creators and monuments to those we have lost, what could have been and what once was, to the main cast and to the preppers you meet along the way.
Don't try sweet talking me on the Euro network. Join the ECA. I may as well paint a bullseye in my shelter.
Covering the world in cable didn't bring an end to war and suffering. Don't act surprised when it all comes apart if you try to do it again.
One of these preppers is the Boomer. The Boomer is one of the hardest contracts to achieve, and he says lived from the time before the Death Stranding to see modernity and the international bodies crumble under the weight of catastrophe. Before the world of Death Stranding, walls were built, and the government failed its people, but eventually he realizes that living alone does not compare to living in a society. Before he becomes a BT. But dealing with these issues require more than just delivering packages. It requires to make peace with the past. One of these connections we make throughout our journey is through one of the top scientists of Bridges, Mama, whose baby was born on the other side.
What the? What is she?
She's my daughter. And I'm her mama. Here we go again. I don't know what's gotten into her lately. She's so scared. Look at her. Maybe the other side wants her back. Or maybe she wants to go back. We can't keep on like this. That much I know.
You want to tell me what happened?
She was due. I was in the hospital waiting for a C-section. Then the terrorists hit us.
Hello? Is anyone there?
I was pinned under the rubble. Nothing to do but wait and wait. Felt like forever. But no one came. They said air and water.
Help! Can someone help me, please?
I don't know how many days went by. The water ran dry, and the cold set in. I gave birth there in the rubble. But instead of bringing life into the world, I brought death.
Crying.
When the time fell stopped, my baby started to cry. She cried, cried. Her life was the price I had to pay to survive. She saved me.
Over here! Get him out of there! Get him out of there, guys! Come on! Stranding! Stranding! Come on! Just a little bit further! Hold on! Hold on!
Over here! I'm over here!
And we've been together ever since. But she's a BT. The ties that bind her to this place bind me too. You could say I've never really been discharged.
And you're okay with that? I mean, you know she's gone. You want to live your life in the shadow of the dead?
Come on. You, of all people, you chose the dead over the living. Why else would you be here? I think they're gone. What the hell? Didn't mean to grab you so hard. Tears. A chiral allergy. So, you have dooms, like me.
The rise of Chiralium and Timefall resulted in a new generation of individuals with a forsaken future stricken with negative emotions and are allergic to the dead. The affliction of dooms, but the most special of them all, for you see, is Sam, a repatriate who cannot die. For him, immortality is not a blessing, but a curse. He will never get a release from the struggle and strife of his life. And whenever he wakes up from his rebirth, he wakes up alone, and he cannot bring those he loves back. Sam's pregnant wife committed suicide, becoming a BT when in contact with her baby, triggered a void out.
Lost my family in an accident.
Well,
I never expected you to open up to me.
This was the start of his aphosnophobia, forever apprehensive of human intimacy, leaving him permanently cold towards others, except for Amelie.
Bond still holds.
While Sam can repatriate infinitely in the living world, the obstacles he confronts cannot. The mules are former porters who lost their job to the catastrophe of the Death Stranding and now continually hoard and loot whatever cargo they might find. Unemployed but forever longing to do work. If we decide to kill one of them, we trigger a timer for when they go necro, and we deliver them to an incinerator. Fortunately for us, this game incentivizes non-lethal play through rubber weaponry. While this detail might seem insignificant, it makes us reflect a little bit about the natural violent acts committed in other games so naturally. Hideo Kojima has always pushed peaceful messages through his narratives. His objective has always been to make us conscious of the violence surrounding our everyday life.
So why are you here then? You enjoy all the killing. That's why. What? Are you denying it?
It is uplifting for this wish to take mechanical form. To send a BT back, you must use Sam's blood in form of grenades and other weapons. They actually like being sent back. Severing our connection requires us to lose a part of ourselves in the end. Mama comes around to this realization.
Cord cutters. I should explain. BTs are connected to the other side via umbilical cords, right? When those cords bring the matter of our world into contact with the antimatter of theirs, boom. Void out. But, just as Deadman theorized, your blood does have unique properties. It can be used to cut a BT's cord. So, I've added that function. Cut the cord of the BT, and it returns to the world of the dead. No BT, no void out. Let's try them out. Cut the cord connecting us. Please, Sam. Set us free. This world was never hers, but all the same, I didn't want her to leave it. Even though she's already lost. You have to break some ties to forge others. Can't be tied to everything. If we're going to reconnect the world, so please, Sam. Do it. Sam, would you set me up? I haven't been outside in a long time. It's just too much to take in all at once.
You sure? Thought you might be claustrophobic after your time in the rubble.
I'll be fine, so long as I can see out of the bag. The warmth of the light, the touch of the wind, the scent of the world. Lucky you. The two of you are still connected.
But grief, regret, and death has plumed our collective consciousness before COVID-19. These traumatic death events are given shape in the storm. Here, history is doomed to repeat itself.
The battlefields. The endless wars you found yourself trapped in. Why era soldiers wander the beach a century after they fell? Normally the souls of the dead move on. The beach is just a corridor, a place through which they pass on the way to the other side. But if regret, resentment, a fervent desire to remain, if these feelings are powerful enough, they may give rise to an altogether different beach, a collective purgatory for an army of the damned. Clifford Unger. His misery and hatred, combined with your BB acting as some sort of catalyst, have brought these battlefields to our world.
2 minutes to cardiac arrest.
You think Higgs is pulling the strings? Pulling all their strings?
Be aware we're in the midst of a biodiversity collapse. We are experiencing the 6th mass extinction at a rate greater than when dinosaurs were wiped out. When you take out 50% of all terrestrial wildlife in 50 years, there's going to be some repercussions.
I've put together the bones of a theory. It's patchy, but worth sharing, I think.
By expanding the network, Hartman unearths records of the previous Death Stranding, coinciding with each mass extinction, each brought on by an extinction entity, like President Bridget and likely her daughter.
What the fuck? You gave me everything I needed, Sam. A complete chiral network. Spread all across America, connecting all them precious little knots. I got the whole world in the palm of my hand.
5. We've had 5 mass extinctions, each caused by an extinction entity. And now it's time for number 6. And it wouldn't be possible without a Boy Scout like you, willing to make us whole.
Surely you figured it out by now.
Doom? People like us? She's the source of it all! Let her go!
I'll see you on the beach for the grand finale.
Amelie? You ready to end this?
I'm supposed to do. There's no stopping the sixth extinction. No matter what you, me, or anybody else does, humanity has a few 100,000 years left, tops. Why don't we just cut to the chase? Accept our fate. Let the creatures before us. We all know what's coming. Why delay the inevitable? Those of us with dooms, her, we're all bound here for a reason. We are all of us a part of the Death Strand. In this place, this fucking beach. There's no repatriation here, no. One of us dies, that's it. He goes to the other side. It's nice, huh? Lucky loser gets to put an end to this rinse and repeat bullshit once and for all. So, no BTs, no void outs, no bullshit. Just a good old-fashioned boss fight. Stick versus rope. Gun versus strand. One more ending before the end. One last game over. I can beat you. Just don't get it, do you? You can't stop this thing. So come on!
It's me, Mario!